So I'm going to start without much ado. So if you don't know me, my name is Jitendra Patel. Joined as a contractor here. I think I finished soon, but before I came here, I was effectively retired. I thought I was retired. So I started setting up these online businesses for myself. Titanium Mindset is one of them, which is coaching for businesses, etc., for individuals, for people, etc. And if you haven't gone on the website, there's some testimonies of people I've worked with, sort of impact I've had on them. I set up an online beauty shop, so I don't know if anybody, I'm sure you will know, Dermalogica product is an A-list product. So that's my wife's a Dermalogica beautician, and so we've got the license to sell their products online. So I've got a website to do that. I've got my own website for FD and FC, and a cocktail glass that we're reintroducing back to the world, etc. So it's in the process of being made, etc. So I've got to just redesign it first, and then we're going to fun with that. So the final thing I think is destination wedding. We're taking place. We did our daughter's wedding in Italy. Good to go to do weddings. But many things in the pipeline. Then I got a call from Morgan Kinley to go and help out Nico Asset Management. Then it turned out GH Financials. Now we're in Mercantile. Somewhere else soon. So I thought I was retiring. COVID and other things came in and put a spanner in the works, but that's what life is about. So I'm happy doing this whilst I get the other ideas to a state where I can launch full out. Okay, so that's me. In terms of expectations, I don't know what people's expectations are, but I do like to try and manage expectations. So if you have zero expectations, that'd be great. So if anything I do, it will be a bonus. But let me just ask one person at random. Anybody, what's your expectations? I don't know what you're expecting. So what's your expectation?
To learn something.
To learn something. Okay. Well, hopefully you'll learn certain things. I think the 5 jars is stuff they don't teach you at school. So hopefully you will learn something. For me, the most important thing here is the toxic relationship one. Okay. Because a lot of people are in COVID and in general, the world is going towards that with social media and all that nonsense. There's a lot of toxic relationships and toxic stuff out there, which you need to develop a titanium mindset for, and what I call a great gatekeeper. So if rubbish is coming into your mind, all I'll say to you is, you're not a great gatekeeper. Learn to become a gatekeeper. Don't let rubbish in. Okay. Yeah, so I've already had the prompt. So 4 forces that pull us apart. Okay. So the 4 forces are, we all need certainty in our lives. The certainty is basically paycheck, right? If somebody said to you this week, oh, sorry, I can't pay you this week or this month or whatever, a bit like what happened last month, but we had a provision in place. What would your life turn to? I can't pay the rent, can't do this, can't do that, can't go on the trip I wanted to go to, etc. So we all need certainty. But at the same time, once you've got certainty, what's the first thing you want? Uncertainty, isn't it? Like, oh, I want to, this game a bit boring now. And this is what happens to 50-year-olds in life, yeah? Okay, okay. They get the certainty in their life, and then they want a bit of adventure.
Midlife crisis.
Yeah, they want a bit of adventure, right? So, an unchecked could be disastrous, us kind of would, okay? Right? So, but understand the forces. Once you've secured this, you need that, otherwise it gets boring. But the 2 forces are actually pulling you in different directions. Okay. And then we all want to be ourselves, right? I'm the only one on the planet, unique, blah, blah, blah. Well, everyone it's whatever, doing whatever, being but we all want to be individual. But at the same time, we also want to be part of a group. Try celebrating your wedding or a sports game, etc. in your house on your own, going, woohoo, we won. Not quite the same thing. I went to India, Australia. It wasn't quite the result we wanted, but it was the atmosphere of the crowd, etc., sharing with the crowd that made it an event. So we all want to be part of a group. And the most extreme version of that is a gang. Try and ever join a gang, or I have, but try leaving a gang. then you'll find out it starts working against you. So does that make sense to everyone? These are forces that we all need, because that's how we're hardwired, but they're actually pulling us apart and it's causing us stress. So as soon as you become aware of what's driving your thought process, at whatever stage in life you are, you can then begin to manage it. Does that make sense? Right?
So you're saying that those 4 stages for all of us, it could be different things, right? Because there's some people are very happy in certainty, right? They
Yeah.
like to know exactly what happens every minute.
Yeah.
So that
we'll come on
works
to
for
all of
them.
those.
Yeah.
We'll come on to those because they can't grow. We can come on to that. So the only 2 things that actually give you happiness is
There's only 2. Open and block.
For me, it's a
Pretty
horrible,
right.
horrible one.
So what I've noticed just before
First time
payday,
going
without
to-
sounding to fix this, is shoes, clothes, and handbags. Okay, and that's why we're linking onto the payday in our website. But growth and contribution. Okay, so let me just explain that and how that comes into play. So growth. I've got to keep this short because I'm on a tight time squeeze. But
Yeah.
growth, if you're not growing, you are
Stagnating.
dying. We're all going to die, but if you're not growing, you are dying. Okay, and I don't want to be in that. Okay, I know I have to go at some point, but I want to be growing. If that makes sense. Yeah. So growth, actually, when you're growing, I'm doing lots of things in the garden. I want to build a garden kitchen. I want to build an office and all that. I'm going to do it myself. I'm learning YouTube videos, etc. I'm doing lots of things. I'm growing. Okay, and then contribution. Contribution doesn't always have to be money linked. Contribution is helping someone out. I'd like to think this is contribution, right? For my part, for my goal sets, this is contribution, trying to do something hopefully for people. Okay. So when you're trying to in a giving mode, they say if you want to find happiness in other people's happiness. Never be short of happiness. Okay. So those are the 2 things that actually bring you back into balance. Next point. Yeah. Go ahead.
You're early, but yes.
Oh, am I?
Keep talking.
Oh, okay, keep talking. So these are the 4 forces pulling you apart. Understand if you bring these 2 things in and understand where you are and what's going on here, they shouldn't drive you. These things should drive you.
It's non-alcohol.
Okay?
No drink.
Get it? Okay. So I'll move on to the next one. Everybody on the screen, okay? Understanding, picking up, listening, hearing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We get a high five. Okay. So the next thing is comfort zones. I can talk hours for each of these topics, but I'm going very fast. Comfort zone. So when and on my slide, I think I've done it like a tree. So when the tree starts out, it's got a little circle, then another circle, etc. And some circles are bigger than others, and some circles actually show like there's some trauma that happened during that stage.
Should
So
you share a presentation with this people on the screen?
everybody's got those printouts. I
Oh, fine.
Yeah. So
You can pull it up. You do have it. On the
I'm
screen.
going to do this because
Okay,
it's the
yeah.
same thing, but I
Yeah.
just use a tree.
Mhm.
So the point I want to make here, because it's only 2 minutes on this thing, the point I want to make is when we start off life, so just become a grandparent, so that kid, and you you expand, you go to school, you expand your comfort zone, and then you get to people where pretty much, without trying to pick on the US, the bit in the middle in the US, right? All they see is US,
Yeah.
and US. They think the world is US dollar. Full stop. Right? Never gone out the country. I'm just giving as an example. If you don't leave your country, you don't know what other cultures are, what other smells are, other foods are, etc. What I'm trying to say is money, bank balance, and others are not your measures of success. It's happiness, which is the growth and contribution.
That's
These-
the relative part there.
Yeah. But the idea is to move outside. So here what I would say is every day do something that scares you. Okay, every day do something that is unusual. So cold shower is a given for me, etc. But that I'm not used to going into a cold shower. It's like nothing. But when you first do it, it's like, oh my God. Okay. So because then it becomes a comfort factor for you. So the more you expand out and until you make the universe your comfort zone, you've got a lot of scope to grow. Exactly. So my favorite one for this, specifically did this for this, is a technique. So I need a volunteer for this. Here, what we're trying to do is all of us have toxic, not relationships necessarily, but thoughts. Somebody that we don't get on with, every time we think of them, it brings us down. We have miserable things, etc. Normally, it's the ex or the wife or the husband or the grandma or the mother-in-law or whatever. And it could be a whole lot of them, in which case you have got a whole group and you think of them and think, oh my God, I was falling apart. So how do you change that into an empowering thought? Okay, so the technique is simple. I need one volunteer. Okay, great. So
Go on.
could you come out here so people can see this one? What's the better?
What we're different.
Thank you very much. So throughout this whole point, I don't need to know anything other than the question I ask you and just the answer. What the issue is, I don't want to know.
Okay.
I.e. the toxic relationship or whatever. It's none of my business.
This might take a while.
Okay, so I'm going to get quick because it's 10 minutes for this. So before we get started, which is your dominant hand, left or right? Right. Okay. So do not touch the two hands now, starting this process. So, and you can all do this for yourselves mentally or while we do this, okay? So in your dominant hand, I want you to put your dominant hand out. And in that dominant hand, I want you to visualize one important event in your life that made you feel really, really happy or really empowered, like I can do anything in the world, whatever. I'm not talking about when you were 1 year old and you thought you could go in whatever, but a visualization, make it as strong as possible. Because I'm going to start asking you questions about it. I'm going to answer those questions over. Okay. So have you got it? When you got it locked down, say yeah.
Can I? It's like the first thing that comes to mind.
Doesn't matter, but it's got to be powerful. Really, when you think of that, you can outweigh anything.
What if it makes you cry?
Doesn't matter, I think I've got that now, but yeah, but is it powerful? Does it make you happy?
Yeah.
Right. So now locked into that. Oh my God. I don't wish.
It's okay.
I've had it again.
Are you okay? I can ask someone else. Okay. So visualize this. There's 5 things that we take into our brains, right? We see things, we smell things, we taste things, we hear things, and we touch things. Those are your 5 inputs into your brain, okay? So if I was to ask you, if you were to see this, what color would you see it as?
Gold.
Brilliant, okay? So I'm going to write this down, gold. And then if I was to ask you, what does it taste like? What does it taste like?
Yeah. This tastes like.
Anything that comes to your mind.
It's a weird one. Veal.
It tastes like veal. Okay, fine.
Italian in nature.
Stay.
I like it.
Sorry. Okay, if you were to hear it, what would it sound like?
Music.
Good. Anything specific or just music? Sweet music. Okay. All right. If you were to touch it, what would it feel like? Okay. Okay, and then what have we done? See, taste, hear, feel, Smell. What would it smell like?
Maybe.
Great. Okay. That's very powerful. Okay. Baby smell is very, very empowering. Okay. So those are your positives. Visualize that. Visualize the goal when you look at it. Visualize the goal. Visualize the music you hear. Okay. Amplify it. That's your power source. Okay. Everybody got it? Now, don't let the two hands touch. In your other hand now, I want you to visualize the disempowering, toxic relationship or whatever it is that you're thinking. I don't know. I don't need
I
to
haven't
know.
thought of it yet.
Normally it comes to mind very quickly to people.
Yeah,
But
well, now that you said that, yeah.
okay, whatever. I don't need to know what it is. But same question. If you were, if it was a color, what color would it be? Now, I want people to watch this, okay? The contrast, and you'll begin to understand what's at play. So, what color would it be?
Oh, kind of black came to mind.
There we go. There we go. It's all the cracks coming out. And then, if it was a taste, what taste would it be?
Bitter.
There we go.
Do you want specific?
No. I expect these answers. If you were to hear it, what did it sound like?
Scrambled noise.
And then, what would it feel like if you were to touch it?
Sharp.
Here we go. Normally that gets sharp, rugged, coarse. And then, if you were to smell this thing, does it smell? What does it smell like? Starts with H, SH.
Gonna say blood, actually.
All right. Unusual, but yeah, but it's still in this category. I understand it. Okay. So does everybody get that? Empowering forces, disempowering forces. Do you see the difference in terms of color, in terms of vibrancy, etc.? See the two modes at play. You're hardly going to say, "Oh, I see pretty pink colors with a toxic relationship." Brain's not wired that. Okay. So now, have you got that button down? That's the toxic. That's good,
This
right?
one's heavier at the moment.
Well, that should play more heavier. Because that's the toxic. Okay. From my experience. But anyway, that's the power. That's the disempower. Are you good at washing up?
Yeah.
Right. So now, in the slides I sent out, it's got a washing up thing. You're probably wondering what that's all about. You now need to be a really good washing up person. I need you to take the powerful hand and place it on your toxic hand, but this has to be on top. The power play has to come from top, not. And I want you to clean your hands with intent that you're literally cleaning everything out, all that crap and blood and bitter and whatever, in the nails, etc. And you continue until you see what you see in this hand, you see in this hand. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So start washing. I think you could do a better job than that. I think much more vigorous, depending on how much. Make sure your powerful hand has to stay on top. Powerful hand has to stay on top. You cannot let the relationship twist. Otherwise, you'll be going in a different direction.
You want to keep it on the top.
So, you know, I know when we did this in Anthony Robbins, when we did this exercise, it was like, yeah. And when you think you're almost there, I don't think you'll be completely there because you could do this over and over. But the technique is the important thing. Go through this process, do that, make sure this hand is always on top. That's a sense of signal to the brain. And then once you're ready, you think you've done that.
Slow it down.
Hold the two out. Do you still see the same vibrancy in that hand?
Yeah.
Where are you seeing this hand?
Empty.
Does it have the same
No.
feeling to you now? Sure?
Yeah.
I haven't paid you, right? So would you
But you
say?
can.
I just did.
You did, you're right.
So would you say that there's some merit in this technique?
Probably.
Yeah. So if these things happen, you've got a technique to get over it. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And you refine it for yourself,
It
etc.
makes sense because I've done things like this before.
Yeah.
It might not make sense.
So
to some.
the point I want to make here is the brain can't tell between what is real, what is made up. If you want to be another type of person, become a great movie writer yourself. Become a star in yourself, write your own movies. Yeah, they say fake it till you make it sort of thing. So a prime example of that, I'm not sure where I'm with my time at the
Putting these
moment.
down now. We've got Wheel of Life now.
Okay, so can I, yeah, you can put them down. Just a quick point to make that point. If you all close your eyes, just a very quick experiment. If you all close your eyes, imagine a vibrant, fresh lemon you just picked from a tree. You've got a sharp knife with you, and you're now slicing that lemon. Okay, and the zest from the lemon and the juices are coming out. I want you to pick up one of the slices of the lemon, and I want you to bite into it now. There we go. Do you see Jessica's face? All right. Did you see the face? Right?
No, I'm asking.
Henry did. Now, did you have a lemon in your mouth?
Yeah, because you almost bite it.
Yes, but did you really have a?
No, I didn't.
No. So the brain can't tell the difference between what is real and what is not real. So you can train your brain to think something is real even though it's not. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? This is where healing comes in, to heal yourself. Thank you very much, Sonia. Right. Was that useful? Because
Yeah.
that for me was the thing that I wanted to do for this. I don't know if you guys, I can't see you.
Nice.
Nice. I even high fives. So, right, Wheel of Life.
Oh yeah.
Right. So the Wheel of Life is something I practice diligently, and
I think it's on the back of that one. But one you just picked up
what's that?
on the back of your handout.
No. I was looking at my. I have about 56 goals for myself each year. About 7 or 8 in
That's
each
more
of
than
the
one a week. That's a bit punchy.
Sorry,
More than one a week. That's a bit punchy.
that's for the whole year.
More
Yeah.
than one a week.
But I don't do things in half measures.
Fair enough.
So your Wheel of Life is, if you talk about work-life balance, people say it's about work and your life balance at home. Well, actually, it's 8 different pieces that you need to focus on. A balanced life. Financial freedom, okay. Career, which most people tend to, if they're working, focus on. Personal development. I say spiritual development, doesn't have to be, it could be your own, whatever you want to name, you want to give it, how you connect with the universe, okay? You can go and hug trees, and that's your spiritual development, okay? That's fine. Hobbies, very important for me. I love my hobbies. Relationships, charity, and health. So, what you've got to do in your Wheel of Life, and you might not be able to see the colors, is and it's good to give this to your partner to do on you, and you do it on them as well. So what you think you are may not be the case. It was great when I was doing this with my kids, like, Dad, no, I don't think you're like so and so on this, you're like a 5 as opposed to a 7, right? And so it's great to see what other people's perspective is on you. So say in financial freedom, you start off with 0 in the middle and 10 on the out. You rate yourself. You say, okay, on financial freedom, which means like you can retire and forget about everything now. You might say, well, actually, you know what? It sucks. I'm about 3, right? Just say it for now, right? Okay, don't get hung up on like where. It's just the concept, right? Career, you might say, oh, you know, I'm top of my career. I'm about at 8 here, right? Personal development. Doesn't really matter what the numbers are. Whatever what you think is, just for the sake of time, say it's, I don't know, middle of the ground, 5. Spiritual development, I don't know, it depends where you are. You might be end up at 3. Hobbies.
What is spiritual development?
So personal development, your spiritual development for me is understanding who I am, how I relate to the universe. In my case, I believe in Krishna, so to believe in like whichever God you believe in, or you might not believe in a God, that's fine, then you believe in the universe, I hope, because that exists, right? So
Yeah.
it's your link to the universe, right? And that's where your tree hugging might come in, okay? Right? Don't have to have a religion for spiritual development, right?
Yeah.
In fact, I have to give it to my son. He's beginning to teach me spiritual development is not about your religion, it's about the person you as a human being. And I agree with him 100%. Okay. We've got all our own wiring. We need to get rid of that and make thought process. Because the world is changing, we have to change with it. Okay. Hobbies, you might say, oh, for me right now, I think I must be on the 8 hobbies. Relationships probably there. Okay, charity, whatever, say 5. And health, say 8. So the important thing now is what you do is you lick the lines up once you've done this. So you go out 8, come down the slide, 3 here, up here, like that, come in, like that, come in, like that, come in, like that, like that. That's your wheel of life. All right?
Okay.
All right? Now, anything in life, if you spin it long enough, it will wind down to its lowest denominator. That's why when you have people work their careers and they work and they work and they work, don't look after their health, the health will bring them down to 0. Now you lost everything. Yeah. So once you've done your wheel of life and you have a visualization of it, you begin to understand where you're paying too much attention to one thing and neglecting some of the other aspects and needs for a balanced life. Yeah. So the strategy is, that's why I've got my 56 goals. You know, I want to get in a tank this year, and that's a hobby, right? Fire a tank. Right? I think my son bought me a supercar race. So these are hobbies, personal development, learning stuff and building things, etc. All of it. So what I would say is if you're high on some of these, I'm not saying don't look after your health and don't look after your relationships, but I'm saying what you might want to do. I'm not saying you have to. You might want to bring these back a little bit, spend a little bit less time on those, and start bringing more out and going hugging more trees or whatever, and putting some more investment away for financial freedom, you know, and cut back on some of this and cut back on some of this and spend it more on your investments and maybe give a little bit more. The idea is it's better to start with 1 everywhere and be completely balanced, and then set a goal. Next year, I'm going to push out to 2 everywhere. Next year, I'm going to push out to 3 or 4 everywhere. Does that make sense?
That's interesting that it's better to be a lower number but balanced.
Yes, stay balanced, because I can 100% assure you, if your wheel of life looks like that and it stays like that for a long enough time, yeah, you are coming down to your lowest denominator. The universe will find a way to do that. So now that you've got a visualization, you can manage this, right? And it's coming back to that comfort zone, pushing outwards, right? Rein it back in to know that you can then push it out. that make sense? That pretty much covered the wheel of life. I mean, this is like a 4-hour topic.
Not to be challenging, but just
Yeah.
in the sense of if you're, say you're struggling with that work, your career is in the pits or whatever, redundancy,
Mm.
however your work life is going, I would always rely on my husband, family, relationship to just help me. That to me is a key thing. So if you're saying bring it all back, does that mean that your relationship with, say, your husband or family, whatever, you strip back to? Do
No,
you see what I mean?
no,
Like,
I'm not
that would
saying
be
that.
something that I would lean on massively.
I didn't say, I said don't have to. What I'm saying is, say in relationships, say you're investing 20 hours a week on that, for whatever it may be. I would break down the 20 hours and say, how much of this can you cut out without destroying the relationship or making a big impact on it? So I don't know, 2 hours watching TV might be great, all right? Or once a week movie might be great, but now can you do it once every 2 weeks? So you just nicked 3 hours of your life and said, I'm going to now invest that in my spiritual development. Does that make sense? I'm not saying
Yes,
hinder
but-
the relationship. I'm just
No,
saying
but I'm
find a
just
better way
saying
to
if
do it.
you had, say, like a lower number elsewhere in your life,
Mm.
obviously you are going to have a higher for your relationship and
Yeah.
friendships and whatever else. Do you see what I'm saying? I wouldn't then just say, actually, no, can't see friends for the next 2 weeks.
I'm not
Um,
saying that. I'm
to
saying
focus
you
on-
manage it.
Yes.
You manage
yeah.
it. So, you know, you and you don't have to. You can keep all of these at high level, and then you have to dip into what I call your sleep time. Yeah. I mean, I wake up at 4:30 every day without an alarm. I sleep max 6 hours a day, and I'm still buzzing. Okay, because I try and get the most out of my day, and I make each day count. So
Yeah.
that's another thing. Live each day as if it's your last day on this planet. It's just don't make the most of everything. Yeah. Well, by the way, I don't want HR to come down on this and say, Joseph, go to the beach. That is not what this is
Get my
about.
bacon sandwich now.
Yeah.
Just I'm hearing. you.
Are we happy with this?
Can I just put that another way, right? Because I think it's all relative. Again, I'm saying someone might do that and let's use the spiritual development. They're happy with their spiritual development being a 3. Do you know what I mean? It's like they actually think, I hear what you're saying. You're saying the grand scale of things, balance is key, right? If we
It's-
kind of balance across, we're good. But I'm saying some
Homeostasis.
people, that might be their happy.
Yeah.
That
So-
might be their happy. Might be you're happy.
Great. No, I'm
But
not
that
saying
might,
that.
no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying to you, but
It's
that
phases.
might be their happy.
It's funny. You try and tell like a 2-year-old guy, I want you to go up on your spiritual development. It's not going to happen in each part of your phase, but you build your phase up. So you build your phase. One of the things I said here was, I was in the time come out because the next 2-3 years is still consolidating to where I want to be, what I want to do, the sports I want to play, etc. To do certain things at like that sort of age, I think it's pretty cool.
And that suits you.
Yeah,
Do you know
that
what I
suits me.
I'm saying
Yeah, I'm
somebody
trying to
else
build
with
up to
this
it.
might be very happy with it. It wouldn't suit
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
but for another person, that circle of
Absolutely.
life, whatever, it works for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's relative to what you want to
Yeah.
be. But I'm saying if you want to maximize your life to your full potential, what we're all capable of.
That's also relative.
Well, that's what
I'm saying that's also relative. But I get what you're saying.
Happy with that?
Yeah.
All right. 5 jars, stuff they don't teach you at school. 6 jars to financial freedom. How long have I got?
We're cutting time, so you've got,
7 minutes. Okay.
yeah.
So 6 jars. I mean, you can have many jars if you want, but 6 essential jars. Okay. The first one is necessities. How much money do you need? By the way, this does not matter. The point of this, I'll explain in a minute. It does not matter whether you earn like $1 a month or 10 or 10,000 or $1 million. It's irrelevant. That's not the point. I don't want to hear from people. Oh, but I don't earn No, that's not the point. The point is, it's a discipline of, and so I don't know if any of you've got kids, but this is the sort of things you need to teach your kids. Right? This is what kids need to learn. This is why they don't teach you this stuff at school, because otherwise you'll end up not working, eventually becoming financially free. Okay, so whatever your earning capacity is, doesn't matter, and there are ways to then create money from your pot as well. Or you cut down on your property or whatever, etc. But necessities between 45 and 50% on average. It could be less, depending on which phase of your life. It could be less. For my son right now, necessity is 0. I do all the shopping, etc., etc. Right? So he has got no necessity costs. Right? So guess where he's plowing all his money. But he wants to retire at 35. Right? So, but anyway, that's where you put it in. Long term is money you put away from whatever you earn, whether it's 1,000, 10,000, 1,000. You put away 15 to 20% to your long term saving. This is a 1 to 3 year plan to buy a car or go on a holiday or whatever. Okay. Again, this may not be part of what you do in life. That's fine, but in general, right? Then financial freedom is something depending on where you are in your life. So for me now, I push as much as I can into the pension. When I'm younger, it might be 5%. Who knows? I think the smart thing to do is just put as much as you can in a financial freedom when you're younger, because then the 8th law of the universe kicks in, which is exponential growth. Right? It works in your favor. So 10%, 10% or 5 to 10% towards a charity, i.e. contribution. Okay. So for example, each year on the 23rd of December, we all go in, do basket brigade, part of Tony Robbins, we go and pack baskets and then hand them out, etc. Buy toys, take them to hospitals, get rucksacks, buy stuff in, shavers and God knows whatever else, and go and hand them out to people on the streets, right? Okay. Very keen on this. You must invest, I think, 10% at least on your personal development to grow yourself each year. Learn a new skill, learn a new art, or whatever it may be. Whatever floats your boat. Okay, some people might not want to float their boats, that's fine. But if you want to invest in yourself, that's 10%. And then my favorite is my play fund. 10% of what you earn, you should burn. I don't have much money. I've got like 10% will be like $10 a month for me. Fine. $10. If you like tea at the Ritz, might not be able to afford it. Wait 3 months, so 0 to 3 months is maximum you can count towards it. After 3 months, go and have tea at the Ritz. Feel like a king, whatever. The reason, and I love this, is I wanted to do the Top Gun experience, 600 quid experience, which means I had to earn 6K from my investments to justify the 10K of 600 burn. And then my son just bought it for me and I did that myself. But this is the most important in my mind, because what this does, it sends a signal to your brain that once you've gone and had your tea at the Ritz for $30, it will say, well, what else can I achieve? That's it for you if you're that way inclined, okay? You might be happy as a bean at $30 and that's it. But human brain naturally wants more and more and more. You say, okay, next time I want to earn $100 so I can go and have tea at the Ritz with 2 of my friends, right? Guess what? Your brain will figure out a way to how to earn that 100 extra bucks, that 70 or 60, $70 extra that month. It will find a way. What you focus on is what you will get. Be careful what you ask for and what you focus on. That's what you're going to get. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, closing thoughts. I love this bit. It actually brings reality, but it's morbid as well. Is how would you like to be remembered? Tuesday. It's a powerful technique. They asked him to chopper this, which is a health guru for the celebrity. And I pitched a bit of his saying. So for me, I don't know, does anyone have got an answer for how do you want to be remembered on a Tuesday?
Giving like a say?
Yeah.
Yeah. I told you I was ill. I told you I
You
was
didn't.
Classic. That's not actually mine, that's my Gilligan.
No, I said, you drink
Oh,
off
no,
your plate,
too
you
sad.
paid.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Do they say there's no putting the richest man in the grave?
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Oh,
So for me,
she did it her way.
It should happen.
thanks for that. I did it my way.
I did it my way.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I actually have given this some thought for myself, and for me, it's like I've nicked a little bit of Deepak Chopra's. Is someone who danced in the field of infinite possibilities, had fun, made each moment count, kicked ass. Bit long, but yeah. And the other thing I would say is if you want start chiseling. It's got apostrophe. It's got apostrophes to make the words.
Plant a tree. That's all right.
The final thing, and it becomes more relevant now, is here's a story for you. So, you know, when you do things in life, and I'm not saying you have to do things. I just want you to see the end game. And if it then kicks you in the butt and say you need to take yourself to another level, then you need to take yourself to another level. And a simple story. Imagine you're in a rocking chair or whatever, and your grandchildren are around you. You've got two types of people. One that says, "Oh, I could have done this, but I didn't because I couldn't do that. I had this and I had that." And after a couple of minutes, I can guarantee you those grandchildren are going to shift one day and say, "Granddad, you know, we're out here, right? You should have done those things." Or you can be the other granddad who says, "I did this, I screwed that up, flew on a plane, balls that up, blew that up and whatever, and had a lot of fun doing it." And I would love, this is my goal, for those grandchildren to go to their parents and say, "How come you're not like granddad?" That encapsulates. Your life is summed up in a dash between 2 days. That's all you are, a dash in between 2 days. And on that note,
Great.
we'll move on to
I feel better.
Are we gonna do a conga line out here, okay?
So,
We're doing conga line out the door.
I think I've done way gone over. Oh, I haven't done too bad. 2 minutes.